Today on the channel, we're talking about cinematic journeys. Coming up next. Hi, welcome back to the channel. My name is Joel. We're going to be talking about journeys, characters, journeys that really change their lives. Kicking this video off, we're going to be talking about Lord of the Rings. More specifically, we're talking about the character Frodo Baggins. Now, without going into any Lord of the Rings lore and details, and we're just going to be focused on the character Frodo, played by the one and only Elijah Wood. He finds out that his uncle, Bilbo Baggins, has a specific ring in his possession that he has kept secret for many years. And Frodo comes in contact with this ring, and a wizard by the name of Gandalf has asked Frodo to deliver this ring to Mount Mordor and destroy it once and for all. Now, this is a treacherous journey and a lot of risk taking here throughout 3 movies. And this story takes us on an adventure. Along the way, we see Frodo just struggle emotionally, physically, and you could tell he's carrying a lot of baggage. And it's mainly because this ring has a lot of powers, and there's a lot of wickedness comes within this ring, and sinister characters within this movie want to get a hold of that ring to have all the power in the world, essentially. There's instances where Frodo is in danger, his friends are in danger, they come across huge creatures, and it's a grueling journey, to say the least. But bottom line, yeah, this journey has changed him. By the end of his story arc, he's at a crossroads. I'm going to go down this road, and wherever it takes me, that's where I'll go. So it's a very bittersweet ending to Frodo's journey by the 3rd movie. Next up, we're going to be talking about another huge franchise, Star Wars, and more specifically, the character Luke Skywalker. Now, when we first meet him, he is on this distant planet, working for his aunt and uncle. He lives with them, and he comes off as a typical teenager, and he has bigger dreams, of course, of going off planet and doing his own thing, being his own man. He comes across 2 droids, R2D2 and C3PO, and R2 just so happens to have this visual message that pops up saying that a princess needs help. Luke, what ends up doing is goes to seek out a hermit by the name of Ben Kenobi. And so Ben Kenobi tells Luke, there is a lot that you don't know about your past, who your father really is. And if you come with me, we will go and rescue this princess. The journey itself is so masterful, and he eventually, saves the day by the end of the movie. His story goes on for decades. Next up, we're going to be taking a break from the big franchises and into the wild. It's directed by Sean Penn. Now, it stars Emil Hirsch, and is based on some real events. There is a gentleman who decides to leave his life behind. He comes from wealth. He literally burns, his ID, his social security. He leaves all the money behind and all that. But he decides to hit the road, be a hitchhiker for a while, and just travel across America. And his destination is to go to Alaska and just live off the land there. Now, it's quite the journey for him. You really question his motives and his really mindset along the way. We see him just backpacking, hitchhiking, getting a ride from strangers, eating an apple, and just enjoying the moment. He comes across several other people in the movie and just has conversations with them, and he flat out tells them, hey, this is what I'm doing. I want to go to Alaska. On the flip side, he has parents who really care about him, who are worried about him. They don't know where he's gone. It's really fascinating how he comes across people, all types of people, old and young, and how they are affected by this young man. At the end of his journey, it's a really tragic ending. I'll say that much. But Into the Wild is a very eye-opening tale that you should experience for the first time. Next up, we are talking about a 2000 film by Robert Zemeckis. It stars the great Tom Hanks, and it's called Castaway. Now, this gentleman in this movie, he plays, he works for FedEx. and he is on a really, tight deadline on Christmas Eve. So he boards a plane with some of his employees. Tragic strikes. The plane goes down. Luckily, he survives the plane crash, but he ends up stranded on this island. Now, his life is just turned upside down. His journey goes on for years. He's on this island for 4 years, I would say. Tom Hanks's performance is one in a million here as this man who's alone and wants to go back to his normal life. Again, he spends years on this island, so he comes up with ways to fill his days, fill those hours, those lonely hours, and you feel for him. You sense the sadness, the isolation. Really kind of heartbreaking. So by the end, he decides to build a raft and go out to sea and just try to find help. By this time, he's frail. His body, there's not a lot of body fat to him. He's lost a lot of weight. He gets rescued, and it's just a very emotional experience for him. He's at a crossroads at the end. He's yet to decide what he wants to do with his life next. And the way that the film ends, it's really touching in a way. This next film is Tim Burton's first film, I believe, and it is Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Now, if you're familiar with the 1980s and 90s character Pee-wee Herman, Paul Reubens put on quite an act for many years as Pee-wee. However you want to describe Pee-wee is probably up there, and you really had to get on board with his humor. As stupid as it is, you just have to go along with it. This red bike he really loves, and he gets it stolen by let's say a neighborhood bully. Now, Pee-wee's adventure takes him across many states, and he gets in these predicaments that don't really let him get any closer to finding his red bicycle. At times you feel sorry for him. He's very gullible, and he tries to con his way out of situations, but that's the character of Pee-wee Herman. Next up on this list, I'm going to wrap up with The Wizard of Oz. Now, the character Dorothy. She is this farm girl. All of a sudden, there is a tornado that rips through her where she lives, and she gets sucked up in this tornado. Now, what we don't know in the beginning is this is all a dream. She ends up in Munchkin Land. She meets people along the way, and she joins them on a journey that ultimately changes her life. And she only wishes to go back home to Kansas because the saying, there's no place like home. She goes on a very touching journey. She's very emotional. Again, she's this young girl who's, caught in this situation that she's far from home, and she gets homesick, and you can feel that. Judy Garland's performance is one of a kind. It always will be. We're with her. We're rooting for her by the end of her journey, and ultimately, she wakes up from her dream, and all the people we meet in the beginning, in the first opening act, are in fact our characters within her dream. I always want to give you guys a little entertainment out of your day. Please continue to support this channel. Check out my previous videos. My name is Joel. This is Dark Room Reviews, and I'll catch you guys very soon. Take care.
Folks, if you like this video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It really helps out in the long run. Dark Room Reviews, it's the place you should be subscribed to.